All right, so our next step here is to deal with kind of the throne and the body assembly, the torso essentially. So, the problem that I'm thinking through right now is how to get in this all just sitting together the original command throne and cockpit assembly to be replaced by our much cooler cockpit assembly. So this much different. So I believe what I'm going to do. And here's two options. So option one, I essentially continue to use these two side pieces that lock into the body interior, um, and then just kind of build new sides. So I'd have to cut these off. I get rid of the bottom piece with the throne. Probably end up getting rid of the front piece, and then using the walls of this to separate out a little further. Um, so I don't know. That seems like a lot more work and makes it so I can't potentially use any of these pieces for anything else. So maybe we keep that for kit bashing and we look at getting rid of this chunk entirely. Maybe I can use this as the back wall still behind him somehow, right? That would still be pretty cool back there. And then essentially I just take the body pieces here, right? Here's the back, two sides, the bottom, and the front where really kind of the headpiece connects in. And then I have a cavity on the inside to be able to build new walls for him and then be able to add lights and potentially, very, very similar detail to the walls of this, simply with some styrene. That would probably be much easier in the long run than trying to cut this thing apart and turning it into something else and dealing with fixing all of the cut seams and everything else. I think that's going to be way more work than it would be to just build something from scratch, um, custom built to fit inside. And then I will essentially cut out these two panels right here from the carapace. And the more I looked at this, the more I really kind of think only this section, based on the design here, was meant to actually open. Um, and even based on where the physical throne room is on the inside of this, that doesn't make any sense. So, what I'm going to end up doing, I'm going to cut out these two panels and I'm going to essentially repair this carapace and reinforce the sides. And then using this hatch, I'll end up building new walls in there to fit the hatch opening. And then I think I'm going to build it so that the hatch is in an open position. There's some pretty cool detail in here. And I really do want to be able to see this guy. And being able to build this so that the hatch can actually open and close to the point where you could see this would be almost impossible. So I think being able to see this detail and the lights that are going on in there, in the little replacement head with the cool little beard on him, that's going to be far more important than having this mounted in a closed position to look like it's immediately ready for battle. Um, I am going to be drilling these out and replacing them with LED lights. I have to figure out how many lights I'm going to need so I can get those ordered, so that when we get to the point of actually placing them, I'll have an idea of where I'm going to be running all the electronics. And then having that cavity opening on the inside without this in the way will still actually be better, because it'll give me space to deal with electronics and a battery, and then figure out where I think on the back of this somewhere I'm going to mount some kind of switch, maybe right in here. I got to figure out where all the armor pieces are going to be so I don't cover anything up, or so that armor pieces don't cover anything up, because I am going to have some form of switch, and either just maybe a USB port so that it can be plugged in for power, because making an openable hatch to place and replace batteries, probably going to be the hard way. So maybe somewhere right in here, somewhere. That will be relatively easy to get to. We'll set it up for like USB cable. I think that'll make a lot more sense in the long run. So I'm going to do a bunch of this off camera because right now all these pieces just need to be removed from their blocks, and cleaned, washed, and prepared to be glued up. And so I'm going to take care of that. And then I'm going to try to figure out how to really approach dealing with this. And once I have a good idea, and all the styrene that I need, I will be back to actually do all of that on camera. Now, I did also want to give you a little update here. I received in the mail the last few pieces that we're going to be using to add on to this guy. So we have this beautiful blank shield that I'm going to be doing some custom Iron Warriors artwork on. That should actually be a really fun project. These are some other pieces from that right here that just kind of allow some options for how these side pieces are filled in if we want them filled in, and received the left and right gauntlets that have individual finger joints, so that these will be able to be set up. And I'll actually set one of them up with a magnet on the hand because these will have to be glued up solid. Well, at least one of them will, to be glued up solid so that the pieces, and here one of them is here, get attached to the back of the gauntlet to allow the shield to be magnetized and removed. So that'll be kind of cool. And I think I'll set that up for the left hand. So the left hand will be set up for the shield, and then the right hand will be set up so the fingers are actually in a closed grip around and this is going to end up being, well, it's the scythe right now. And I'll have the hand closed around it. We're going to get rid of this connection so it won't be literally attached at the elbow of the guy. He's going to be holding on to it. And it'll have to be glued in, so it'll be part of that hand. The hand will be closed around it permanently. But the end here, instead of it just being a scythe, the Iron Warriors would be far more likely, I guess, to want a giant warhammer. So this will be replaced potentially, as an option to be replaced with the scythe or the warhammer head. But depending on how that connection goes, it might be smarter. It should work out just fine. To have a nice pin in here that can be replaced, so it's either the scythe or the hammerhead. We should be able to take care of that without too much problem, but it will be connected to the hand. So that will be a bit down the road. Oh, those are not going together. So there's lots of little stuff, but I believe all of the pieces for this guy are here now. I should have everything well except for the lighting, because at this point I still don't know exactly what I'm going to need for lighting. I want to light as much of it as possible, but it still needs to be in places where it's even possible to run wiring to. I'm going to want to do something in the weapons, but with multiple interchangeable weapons, potentially, other than having like a little interface cable, which could be really cool. I'm not sure how to deal with lighting multiple weapons, but we're going to figure that out as we go. I definitely do want to light multiple weapons. So, again, yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. Like, what could go wrong, right? All right, so I'm going to get to work on cutting all these pieces off the sprues, and getting them all cleaned up and ready to go. And then next time we'll be looking at building the custom walls of the interior. Well, actually, I guess next time we'll be looking at gluing up all of these pieces and then starting to figure out how to deal with the entire custom interior. All right.